Before we get started, I'd like to give a big thank you to this commentator. He gave me the idea for Ice Druid Village. I've been running some tests on it, and I'd like to share some of my findings on these things. So, without further ado, the build comp is Water Obyn, Druid, Ice Village. The stall potential is very strong on this build. Normally I've been running Tack Village Druid. Tack Village Druid is extremely strong right now. Tack Shooter is the most efficient early game tower in the game. With a 202 Tack, you can fully economy and hold anything that can throw at you up to level 7 basically. But today we're not going to be doing that. Today we're going to be using the Ice Monkey in place of the Tack Shooter. And it offers some pretty good results. I have some gameplay here. It goes to round 26 and we get this victory with a fortified ZOMG and then fortified DDT stack onto the... Now onto the synergies and builds. First off, Ice Monkey has two very powerful abilities. It's this refreeze, freeze balloons that are already frozen, and then permafrost. They move slowly after falling out. With these two, it's extremely powerful with Lightning Druid. You can stall for very, very long periods of time. It basically doubles the track length, if not triples it. It's extremely powerful, and including on the stall, Druids have an ability where if any balloons leak, they get attack speed permanently. On top of that, they get an ability after that that lets them get even more attack speed as long as they're attacking. And this is like, it's just ridiculous because it adds on too. They can pop frozen balloons with their 1XX build. It lets them hit these frozen balloons. And once you have like 2 or 3 ice towers all with refreeze and slow after thawing, it creates this little nest for these Pierce Druids to just go crazy with lightning, go crazy with their thorns. They have extreme attack speed if you leak. It's incredible. And then once you add on a village, you get the jungle drums buff, you get the camo detection buff, you can even get the MIB on top of it so you can detect everything. In my tests, this has worked extremely well versus popular strategies like Alchemist Village, Tack Shooter. It's seen success against the submarine builds. It's seen success against the Gatling gunner builds, against boat builds. It's very, very powerful at stalling. Where the issues come in is if you place your Obyn and you don't have a good like Druid pit to burn through all these balloons. Mobs can sneak by. Blimps can sneak by very, very quickly, very easily. If you don't have your Druid set up, if you don't have them set on strong, they will just dart right past the ice stall location and you'll leak a bunch. If not, just outright lose. Now, the counter to that is to have, I would say, minimum 4 Druids and set them all on strong. If you pop the blimps, you're good because your ice wall is so powerful that all your other Druids will have a lightning cleanup. It's very good, but you got to pop that blimp shell first to get there. Once you get there, you're golden. Now it's time for build variations. Now, first off, I've done a pretty solid amount of testing. The main variation is village versus submarine. Now, the reason why these are interchangeable is because they both have detection. It's very important for round 12 to have detection because so many people do the camo purple strat or just camo in general. Once you start getting to the higher tiers, it kind of goes to Moabs most of the time, but if you don't have camo, you're just going to get taken out round 12 every time. So with the variation, I believe that village is better than the sub in almost every single case. The submarine is getting nerfs in the most recent patch to where it's underwater scanning, does less damage, does less penetration. It's not as powerful as the village. The village is extremely powerful due to the fact that you can get jungle drums on it. You can make a very, very strong ice wall with that. The synergy between ice monkeys and the jungle drums is it blew me away the first couple times I used it, just due to the fact that ice with permafrost and jungle drums, it almost perma freezes. On top of that, if you have some lightning druids, like it's nuts. Now there's some other variations too, like if you don't want to run druid, you can run a magic monkey. Due to Obyn's pierce buff applying to any magic monkeys, it doesn't apply to the ice one, which kind of sucks, to be honest. If it did, it would be extremely strong. Like this would probably be the best strat in the game, to be honest, but it doesn't. So your druid, you can sub for a different magic monkey. I've done tests with super monkeys. Super monkeys are pretty interesting. They're really strong late game, especially the Dark Knight. What I've found is that most of my games, especially in the lower tiers, don't ever go that long, to where I almost never buy the super monkey in general. It's almost always like round 12 to round 15 rushes, 26 DDTs. By then you usually have some super monkeys, but I've noticed they struggle a little bit with the fortified DDT rush. I think 4 or 5 can take out 2 Dark Knight super monkeys, which, you know, that's no good. So there's definitely more testing, more variation to be done. So far, Ice Druid Village seems like a very strong comp. I think the only comp that beats that is Tack. You can see, you know, Tack, like Tack Druid Village. Tack shooters are just insane. You can also sub for ninjas as well. Ninjas are very, very good. They get the pierce buff on Obyn. On top of that, they have the flash bombs and decamo. So things like a 0-2-3 or 0-2-4 ninja monkey have very strong success versus the mobs, opposed to the high cost of the Dark Knight super monkey. It's very much worth considering. So far, I just like the druids more, just because, you know, it's druids and it's Obyn. I really enjoy making that comp work. It does work. It's good. The thunders are extremely powerful with the slow. Overall, it's just like, it's just solid. You know, I win more games than I lose with it. If I lose, it's usually due to human error. If I just don't economy well enough. If I misplaced my towers. I've lost games because I placed Obyn in a bad spot and I could only get like 2 or 3 druids into his range pit, and then on top of that the village wouldn't stack in a good way. It was just bad placement. But I think with more testing you can find some really good locations for all of these things. And overall, I'm very excited at what Ice Monkey can do, what it's going to continue to do. I believe it's going to get some buffs soon as well, because outside of the very specific comps that you can get with these camo detect towers, with these other things, Ice Monkey isn't really seen or used. I think in over 100 games I've only seen it maybe once or twice. So it's enjoyable that we're starting to get more people using it. There's interest in it. There's very obviously multiple people want to see it work. I've seen multiple comments both on my channel and on other people's channels asking about Ice Monkey. And so I'm going to be doing a lot more testing. I'm very curious to see if I can perfect this build, if I can get a build order going where it's like, you know, for the first 11 rounds, this is the exact button input you press and you'll win 80% of your games. Which, you know, in StarCraft, in Age of Empires, I was in that scene as well, kind of doing some builds. And so it'd be fun to kind of transition that knowledge, transition that experience into this game. And with that said, if you have any builds you'd like me to try with any heroes, anything like that, feel free to let me know, and you know, I can try to get that going. Now, just to wrap up some of the thoughts I've been having about this build so far. Early game, I feel like the early game is weaker than going tack shooter. Tack shooter is just insane right now. The patch notes didn't even nerf it too bad. I think they just fixed a bug, but it's still the best early game tower in the game, hands down. The mid game, I think the mid game is where this build has a lot of like solidness to it. It's very easy to leak early if you don't get some good placement with your ice tower, with your Obyn, and if you don't get an early druid out. Now, with that said, leaking early isn't always a bad thing. With the Druid ability, where they gain a permanent attack speed when you leak, it can be extremely strong if you allow yourself to leak a little bit. If you have 2 or 3 of those, it can give you just an incredible advantage later on in the game. If you ever want to upgrade to a 004 Druid to buff your other ones, or if you even want to go Storm Druid, I've seen a lot of success with multiple Storm Druids, all with the blowback function. The problem they run into again is with the Moabs. They have some issue clearing them. Ball lightning is 5,000. It doesn't really do much at all to the Moabs, honestly. So later in the game, it's looking like the best bet is going to be the bottom path. Now the middle path is still the old Druid, the 030 Roots is one of the best towers in the game on Tower Defense 6. It's extremely strong. It kills a ridiculous amount of balloons every single time. It's one of the cheapest towers in the game, and it's not in Battles 2. It's the old version. It doesn't work. The old version is extremely bad. You can see I get this dub here off of the ZOMG DDT. But yeah, there's a lot more to say about these Druid strategies. I'll try to condense it and combine it into better videos. But yeah, thank you for watching.